method of business would persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades. While the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux, to this day the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes way before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can hit the streetlights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice. We never leave love alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never care for compromise. Always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
All right, welcome to Monte The Pharaoh presents This Week in Wrestling. The sister
Again with
of
that.
the brother, or maybe the daughter.
The
daughter of
Who's
the
wait a
brother,
minute, who's
the father, Monte The Pharaoh. What do you think?
Who's the father show been messing around with? How did we get a daughter?
Yeah, how does that even happen?
I don't know. I didn't
There's
know
like
shows
one
could
one
intermingle
show
and then
has sex
produce
with
another
another
show
one?
through show osmosis.
That's
What's
pretty
going
good.
on?
That's
I
pretty
don't-
good, man.
I don't understand. Hi, folks. How you doing? Hey.
All right, you had a big week in wrestling, my friend.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for joining us. Well, as we record this
Okay.
video,
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson, formerly Daniel Bryan,
I thought that sounded familiar. Okay.
has now signed officially
No.
with AEW.
Really, for sure.
For sure.
Oh my Lord. All right, man. We might as well have at it. Let's do it civilly though, because after all, we're not flaky. We're not
Right.
even shaky. So let's have it.
Let's do it.
Dude, I'm thinking that this is one of those times, and you know I'm pro Vince. This is one of those times where I think Vince has made a mistake. I don't like hearing about this. Daniel Bryan still has tons of value. Daniel Bryan is a WWE legend, super marketable. Come on, how many Yes shirts have been sold over the course of that guy's career in WWE? We may not be, and we both on record, not huge fans of Daniel Bryan's whole spiel. We both respect him. You can't deny what was going on during that yes stuff. For God's sakes, I saw sports teams doing this on ESPN.
All right, how many years ago was this?
It's about 7.
7, 10,
7.
give or take.
The WrestleMania year of Daniel Bryan was pretty much like the 2014 situation, where he overcame all the odds and Vince resisted the booking and the fans demanded it pretty much. They were like, do this or we're going to boo you out of the building. Rarely Vince buckles, but he did, and I think it was a good move. I think it was. I think it was because Vince is smart for the most part. He's usually spot on with his decisions. I don't agree with this decision. I don't like this. I didn't like when Chris Jericho bolted for this new AEW. I was, if I worked there, I would have been like, Vince, you know what? Let me yell at you. I have to yell at you. What are you? Don't let this guy go. Jericho has eternal value. What are you doing? Plus, he was carrying Monday Night Raw. How's Raw been without Jericho.
Well,
so that's my opinion.
I understand.
Shoot,
And you know, it's a good opinion.
Tell me, and I know you think that it's not necessarily a bad move by Vince. Please explain why you might feel that losing Daniel Bryan may not be such a big thing.
Right. Well, so here's my point. Bryan Danielson is 40-something years old.
Change the name.
Right?
Worthless. No.
What else could the WWE have done with Bryan Danielson?
It's a great question, and I think we talked about it during the week, as we always talk about all sorts of things going on in the wrestling world. But I think I said to you, what would have been so wrong to give him 6 months off until, he gets fresh again. If any wrestler that's worth their value contractually, when they do hit, and almost all of them do hit this point where the fan is now suffering from burnout, and there needs to be either a stoppage and like you said, you get to the point. What are you going to do? Change again? What are we going to do here? I would have recommended.
He's done about everything you can do in the WWE. He's been there a very long time.
The reason why I mostly agree with that, but there's always that other portion that I think about. Daniel Bryan has done everything he can with this current roster, right? Okay.
Sure.
But you never know who may be coming, and they might be a perfect fit for him. So to me, considering all his value, his impact in the company, I would probably have given him a half a year off. Vince can afford it, and said, what, chill out, and we'll wait for the right opponent. And when you come back, the fans will be juiced to see you. You have value to me. I don't like him in AEW.
So let me ask you this question. We're talking about the WWE side of it.
Right.
What is AEW going to get out of it? Except the cheap pop that they've been getting every week. Let me finish my point.
No, this is true. Okay.
And this again, they are building their company. Again, some people say they've got the older guys, and they have their core guys that they're building within the company. They're not building anybody within that company, right? Their main guy, look, MJF, sure. Okay, got it.
Cassidy.
All right. Orange Cassidy,
whether
got
we
it.
approve or not,
sure.
Cassidy.
But the majority of them are old-timers, right? Guys that have made their name in the WWE. And, where's Rusev? I see I still call him by his old name. Where's he been the last couple of weeks?
Well, Rusev at least has had, or you meant Miro.
Well, whatever
he is.
Whatever you want to call him.
Van Miro? Or is that Vampiro?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rusev at least has been pushed better over the last couple of months when he was really non-existent, so there's always that. When it comes to, like you said, the old guys and stuff like this, yes, that's true as far as their acquisitions.
Are you going to put Bryan Danielson, bring him in? All right,
Yeah.
so he's rumored to come into Queens at Arthur Ashe Stadium, right? That's where he's going to make his appearance, right?
Okay, I like that.
So what are you going to do? You're going to put the belt on him right away?
No.
Are we going to forget about all these young guys?
No, no, they're not going to put the belt on him right away. But don't forget, though, AEW, part of their fan base's passion is for the purist, is for the wrestling in the ring. This
You think?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They love their mat wrestling over there. The general consensus, I believe, of an AEW fan is for the wrestling first. Sure, they want to have a show. They want to be entertained. But I do think that they lean more towards, like the New Japan fans, what's going on in the ring itself.
So
Daniel Bryan is a wet dream when it comes to in-ring wrestling.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think this is a core bunch of young men, okay? I'm not even going to go by young women. I'm not even sure about that. We'll say young men that have decided that they hate the WWE and anything.
The fan base.
That anything that AEW throws at them is gold.
I agree with that. That's usually how they react to everything. I agree with that because that's exactly what we don't like about that.
Listen, on the other hand,
we point it out all the time.
Danielson,
but this is a good move for them.
Okay, maybe. I mean, how many good moves are you going to make? This is a company.
Remains to be seen.
This is a company that continues to spend their money. They're in the red. Yeah. This is a fact.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're buying music that you can't even make money off of, right? You're buying music for your wrestlers that you can't make music like money off. You can't put an AEW
Probably
album
in the
together.
Hope that the music helps the wrestler get over and they can sell merchandise.
Is that the mindset behind it? I don't know if that's going to work.
I think if they're smart, that's how I would apply it if you're going to pay for royalties for a famous band.
On the other hand, if Cult of
it can work sometimes.
If Cult of Personality hits, and that guy comes out, now you have a John Cena moment.
You see,
Okay, you don't have a John Cena moment with Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry. It's
agree.
A cheap
I agree
pop.
with that as long as you give me this. Matt Hardy, Christian Cage, Rusev, they are no Daniel Bryan. No disrespect to any of them. This is a big move for AEW. It is. And here's where you're probably going to be like, I don't even know how you'll react to this, but I think you already know the answer, that if CM Punk shows up on AEW, you know what's going to happen to the Pharaoh's attention span for that program.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to be over. Because when it comes to Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre and Sheamus and CM Punk and Chris Jericho are over there, you know what's going to happen, Mike. I'm going to be like, ho, ho, you know, because I'm actually like freaking at the possibility that might happen. And you know what? I'm not rooting for it because I'm rooting for Vince to get CM Punk back so he can beat up.
So I'll say this.
Mr. Triple H and give us that.
I'll say
I want to see that.
Punk again is in his 40s.
True. Very
hasn't
true.
wrestled in forever.
He's a superstar, but what did you just say when he shows up? What did you call it?
Again, going to be huge.
You know? It is.
But I'm not so sure this guy is going to be able to cut in the ring anymore, honestly.
I think he will. I don't think he'll... Look, it would be silly to think he could be like the way he was when he left. That's silly, but can he still be good? Because he was great. So can he still be good? Yeah, I think so.
No. I'll tell you what, getting Punk is the right move. Danielson, to me, is a cheap pop. The WWE loses nothing.
That's rough.
With Danielson. They lose nothing. And, you know, I've heard some fans say, well, he was never treated properly in the WWE.
Oh, stop.
They didn't want him.
See, that I don't
you
know.
even said it, though.
Yeah.
Vince was forced to make his decision.
But that doesn't mean that he was not treated well.
At a sum of $1.3 million a year.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm sorry, you were mistreated?
No.
Come on.
No, I'm not buying that either. All I was stating was the facts as we know them, because you know that what I said was true, that the fans really wanted him pushed and Vince wasn't interested, and then Vince finally succumbed, because you can't have yes chants the whole 3 hours of the show, and he's only out there for 20. They were like so demanding. It was crazy.
Let's jump the Money in the
And it
Bank.
worked.
Let's jump the Money in the Bank. Big E
God.
wins the Money in the Bank. You're not a big fan of that one. Tell me why. Why is Big E not the right choice?
It's not about him. It's about how he's been booked over the years, and I can't... You see, to me, the Money in the Bank briefcase is, okay. Titles have become watered down over the years. When we were kids growing up, the Intercontinental title was a surefire sign that whoever holds this belt is number 2, and guess what belt he's going to probably either wind up with or fight for, and you're going to be like taking it insanely seriously. The Intercontinental title meant that. To me, the Money in the Bank, because the titles are watered down today, the Money in the Bank to me represents that. So when someone wins Money in the Bank, I want to believe that they can beat the current champion. Whether they're dive-bombing them by surprise because someone else hit the guy with a chair 47 times or not is irrelevant to me. I want to be able to say to myself, and this is why I have a problem, can Big E Langston legitimately, as legitimate as it gets in this sport, folks, okay, so bear with me, legitimately beat Bobby Lashley? Hell's no. Can he cash in on the Tribal Chief? Hell's no. And if it ever did happen, that would be really bad news for those two guys who have been booked to the moon because they look it, act it, wrestle it, and deserve it. I would have a huge problem with that, okay? So when I see Big E win the belt, I'm probably going to be very unhappy if that happens. I don't see how he could be cashing in successfully unless there's a title change from either guy I mentioned, Reigns or Lashley. How do you feel about it? He's sure big enough.
I think
big dude.
Big E falls in the Daniel Bryanson land where the people Daniel Bryan.
And I knew who you meant.
Yeah, I know.
That's
a scary
funny.
part.
Yeah, well,
I think he falls into the Daniel Bryan deal, right? It's like the fans
Really?
want Big E. They've been clamoring for Big E, but
not as bad as Kofi.
One thing you didn't.
That Kofi thing was insane too.
One thing you didn't mention that you mentioned to me earlier in the week
Sure.
is this. That's great. Big E wins the title.
Right.
And guess what? He's proven as Intercontinental Champion he really didn't get over.
Right.
He's not going to get over. You said it,
I don't
right?
believe it,
He's not going to get over. So you might get, again, talk
don't
about a
believe
cheap
it.
pop. You let him win a heavyweight title, and then you go nowhere with it.
Right. To me, it's...
Can you put Big E on the side of a bus in Manhattan?
No.
Or your WWE bus?
No.
Or Lesnar, Cena, Lashley, and Reigns?
Right.
Right?
And before he finally left recently, Taker.
Yeah.
He's on the bus.
So
He's
let me
on
ask
that
you,
bus.
on the AEW bus, can
Yeah.
you put, Hangman Page on the side of your bus?
How did I know? Only unless there's a whiskey advertisement for a certain
No,
brand
but
right
legitimately,
next to it.
can
so
you, like...
they make some
if-
money on that
if
bus.
a bus is going by,
No,
and
I don't-
I'm a
no.
casual fan,
No.
and I see AEW and a picture of Hangman Page, do I even know who the hell that is?
I got to be honest, and this is going to sound terrible, but wrestling fans, brace yourselves. The regular person on the street, if a bus comes roaring by with an AEW logo and MJF on it,
They don't know.
the regular person is not going to have any idea. I'm sorry, but it's true.
But if Roman Reigns is on that bus...
There's a possibility, but even then, I wonder though. But Lesnar, I think, Lesnar's in
Cena?
Please, Rock. If Rock comes back for WrestleMania,
Well, let me ask you this
Cena
question now.
is a famous.
If you have a
famous man.
picture of Lashley on there, right? And some people may not know who Lashley
gonna-
is, right?
right, it's
But they
another
would
one.
know he was somebody.
Right. If I was
If Hangman Page or MJF is on a bus, you're like, why do they got the salesman from Applebee's on the side of a bus?
quite honestly, the only person I'd be putting on that bus as it roars by is Jericho.
Moving on, let's
on.
go back to AEW. We had some really great matches between the Queen, Charlotte
Okay.
Flair, against Rhea Ripley.
Right.
But last
and-
night,
right.
AEW gave us Nyla Rose against Britt Baker. Now, Nyla Rose, huge, right?
Yes.
Big
Yes.
woman,
Massive.
right? Against Britt Baker, who we love.
Yeah.
Britt Baker was kicking out of every power move, and I said to myself, this is where the AEW fan, they don't care, because it's just AEW. If you did this in the WWE, this is why the WWE is the big leagues. I don't care what anyone says. AEW is the minor leagues. They may be chasing, and they may be catching some ground, but this is a race, right? This is the Belmont Stakes.
Right.
And just because you're 4 links behind doesn't mean that you're going to win the race.
Right.
And again, if you're just going to see, at some point, once you're done attacking the WWE, this style of booking that AEW does, because I was thinking about it, AEW, everybody's a star. Everybody wins a match somewhere along. It's like today's society, right? PC. Everybody's got to get a trophy. Everybody's got to win a match.
Now you make me not want to tune in at all. What are you doing?
Everybody's gotta win a match.
You're
Gotta
making too
win.
much sense. You got to stop right now. You're gonna
Wow.
really upset my stomach.
Wow.
What are you doing? That's terrible. But by the way, you're right. Everybody wins, including your buddy Luchasaurus.
There you go. We love Luchasaurus.
You love Luchasaurus. I
So,
like dinosaurs.
all the wrestling fans flipping out because Karrion Kross on his birthday was on Raw, and he wrestled Jeff Hardy, and guess what? He lost. So I'm going to say something, and then I want you to weigh in.
Go ahead.
All right?
Yep. God.
Last week on the first episode of this, we spoke about Karrion Kross, and one of the things we said is, why is he not getting over? And then previous episodes on Monte The Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, we've discussed Karrion Kross, and you said, could tell I'm a big fan of his, but why is he not getting over? Guys, this is why the WWE is smart. Because guess what? Everybody's talking about him now because everybody's angry because they can't believe that they jobbed him out on Raw, and now they're flipping out.
This is how they draw attention to Karrion Kross.
Sure.
Okay. Well, if I was in the back, I can feel the Jim Cornette in me coming out. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I would be like, are you out of your minds? Are you out of your minds? You have pushed him in NXT, and it's effectively worked as far as the character goes. And let's be real here. Both you and I do like what was going on with him in NXT.
Yeah, sure.
To have him lose to Matt Hardy after the almost Goldberg-like
You mean
NXT,
future Hall of Famer Matt Hardy?
I mean Jeff Hardy, by the way.
Oh, okay, sorry.
My bad.
Fine.
But either way, they're both,
Future Hall of Famers.
Both Hall of Fame. To have him lose to Jeff Hardy after basically being the Goldberg equivalent as far as his push down in NXT is absolute. I can hear Cornette. It's absolutely ridiculous. You gotta be kidding me. That is horrible. Horrible. Because the best part about Karrion Kross was his untouchability. Who the hell's gonna pin this guy? And you do the cheap thing with it. Yes, true, Hall of Famer, but wait a minute. When was the last time Jeff Hardy was a major individual single star on the card at a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam or anything. You want to talk Daniel Bryan 7 years ago? Let's go back further. Let's have Karrion Kross, who's been pushed like Goldberg, evil Goldberg, down in NXT, never losing to anybody, crushing everybody, got the hot blonde, everything's perfect, fall and pray, I mangle people, and they have him get pinned by how old is Jeff?
Wait a minute.
How old is Jeff? Answer the question.
40-something.
40-something.
Yeah.
Closer to 50 or closer to...
So here's my point.
Or is it...
But here's an interesting point.
I'm not sure. I don't like it.
Fall and Pray
Yeah, what about
was
it?
not played when his entrance came out.
I know. What did they play instead?
Some other video. Scarlett was not with him.
Yeah, what did they bring out
am
instead?
telling you,
Nobody.
this
Nobody.
was to bring attention
terrible.
to this future superstar. And what's going to happen
Please
is...
tell me he's going to destroy
Of
Jeff
course,
and send him to the hospital.
Of course he
and
will.
then they're going to have a match and he's going to kill him in less than 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay, then I'm fine. Never mind, folks. Good job, Mike. My stomach doesn't hurt anymore. How'd you do it?
Well, if that wasn't bad enough for the Pharaoh, it gets a little worse.
And what?
Nikki
Why?
Cross defeats Charlotte
No,
by cashing in the money in the bank.
You know why, though?
The career
You know-
of the almost superhero.
Yep. You know why, though?
Nikki, almost superhero
And
Ash.
you know why that happened? And it's not on this run sheet, but
Go
it's
ahead.
all over the world right now. Global news worldwide. The reason why this happened was this Stephanie heard me say, career over after you put her in that stupid costume and turned her into the female version of the Hurricane, and she's not even funny. So basically, Stephanie was sitting there because we have our little birdie who, sometimes, hangs out by Stamford, Connecticut. And, they confirmed that she was really angry. She's like, that effing Pharaoh. I'll show him. So all of a sudden, Nikki Ash is champion. How'd you feel about Charlotte Flair being beaten? Don't worry, it's just to call attention to Charlotte Flair losing. Go ahead.
I'm going to say this. You said just before that
This is
everything will
horrible.
be okay as Karrion Kross destroys Jeff Hardy.
Right.
Charlotte Flair
What's
is going to destroy Nikki Almost Superhero to the point where she's crying and can't move legs. And guess who's going to come out?
Who?
Whoa, little Becky Lynch. And here we go for SummerSlam.
She's not having her theme song changed?
I would like it
There's
to.
a much better song than that stupid whoa-whoa thing.
All right, before we cut out, let's give a little love to Impact. They had their pay-per-view, and the match to call out is the world champion...
Your favorite.
Impact World Champion Kenny Omega as he defeated Sami Callihan.
He's the world champion of everything. Let's get that
How do
straight.
you feel about that whole gimmick of the collector of belts?
I don't like it. I mean, in concept, it's a great idea, and it really would have been awesome in the territory days. But I don't feel that with this, and I don't like it, and I don't think that if I was AEW, I would want to have my world champion wearing another company's belt.
Which is a great point, but the other
Unless
point
it's
too is,
WWE and you're working with them the way WWE used to work with ECW
but you're talking
or
about
Japan back in
Karrion
the
Kross
day.
doing the job for Jeff Hardy.
Eh?
Impact is doing the job for AEW every friggin' pay-per-view. I mean, why isn't anyone flipping out of that? What if you're an Impact Wrestling fan? How do you feel that no matter who you got in the company just gets beat by Kenny Omega?
If I'm a number one Impact Wrestling comes first and it's my favorite company,
Right.
I'm going straight to the doctor because there's something wrong with me. Are you gonna wait? No. New Japan, okay, fine, I can understand that. AEW, I can understand that. WWE, duh, of course I can understand that. My favorite company is Impact. You guys are all lost. Are you kidding me? There's Ring of Honor guys laughing at that statement.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's the breakdown.
All right, guys, I want to thank you for joining This Week in Pro Wrestling, hosted by Monte The Pharaoh. Catch us every Friday at 7:30 on YouTube.
Right.
And stay tuned and catch us every Thursday on Long Island's #1 Pro Wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. Jimmy, you got anything to say to the people out there?
Nothing more than I hope you enjoyed This Week in Wrestling, and until next week, this has been Monte and the Pharaoh. Later.